I'm going to be showing you my grape trellis that I built last summer, and these are ground anchors that have a auger looking thing on the bottom of them. You just screw them straight into the ground, and then I have high tensile strength wire here that I go up to a post, and I use little crimps right there. I just loop it up and around and crimp it, and then it comes all the way up to here. I have a ratchet strainer right here. You just wrap that in there and then crank it. And then on the other end, you loop through up and around the post, and you run in fencing staples right here. You just loop that up and around and put another crimp right here. And then you run all the way to the other end, the same thing. So right there I have a crimp, and I'm running that up and around in a loop. And there's a post right there. And you put those in at an angle so it makes kind of like a triangle shape. And then I run that wire all the way down to the other end. And I have a weed mat right here. It's really good quality. It keeps weeds out really well. And I'm planting strawberries every foot. And I have beans and peas in the back row. Once I go get more strawberry starts, I'll probably put some in there as well and fill it all. So I burnt holes in the mat with a weed torch, and you can get those for cheap at like Harbor Freight. And I have a hardy kiwi right here. They're little kiwi fruits that are kind of the size of a grape, and they don't have any fuzz on them. So I'm going to run that up there too. And then coming all the way down, lots of strawberries. I have my grapevines. And this one's a Reliance grape. And I'm going to be tying those up to the top right there. And then I'm going to have one branch going each direction, and it's going to form kind of like a T shape. And then off that top of the T, it's going to form buds, and those buds are going to make branches that just weep over the top. I have another one right here. This one is Hemorrhoid grape. It has this right here. I think it's a disease or something. It's kind of swollen right there. I'm not sure. Might have to prune it back to this bud or something to get rid of that. And this one's Stuyven. It's another grape here. Once they start budding out and forming branches, I'm going to tie them to the top. I had tied one a week ago, but we had a windstorm and it snapped it off the top branch right here. So I have to remember to tie them loose or they might break again. I have another grape here. It's looking kind of pathetic. I don't know what type it is. It might be Mars grape. If it doesn't bloom out, I might just put a different one there. And then coming to the end, I have another post right here. And I put a ratchet strainer on this end. You don't have to put them on both ends for the top wire, but you do want to put them on both ends for the wire that goes down to the ground anchor. So I just did the same sort of thing with the fencing nail. Just looped it around and crimped it with the high tensile wire, tightened it up tight down to the ground anchor. And that's it for that. Right here I have some mushroom logs that are going to have chicken of the woods grow on them. Need to move them to more of a shady area. I'm still trying to organize it back here. Some more right here. I have some oyster logs over on the other end. And then here's my apple tree. I have probably about 20 or 30 varieties of apples on it. It's just about to form some blooms here. Need to come through and cut off a few more branches and do a little bit more grafting before the season's over for doing that. I have stuff like Priscilla apple. It's a really good disease resistant apple, and it's mid-season if I remember right. I have black gillflower here. I have russet apple. I think it's Agremont russet right here, and those go way out. I need to prune them back. I might just prune them off since I don't know what type they are, but they have so many flower buds that I kind of want to get the apples this year. I need to really prune this whole branch off because it has this big whirl of branches right there. I want to prune it back down to here and then regraft it with a single variety. When the apple tree was young, I was probably only about 11 years old, and I didn't know how to prune or anything like that. And I let 2 leaders grow up, and now I have kind of a V right here. And if we had a really bad storm, there's the potential that this side could break down and just split down the tree. That wouldn't be a good thing, but I have so many varieties on here that I don't want to cut them off or anything. I'm just going to let it go. I also had another branch down here that I hadn't pruned, and I finally pruned that a couple years ago to get that out of there. I thought about just whacking this branch out and then leaving it to have this main trunk and then a couple sides there, but I don't know what I'll do. I might just keep pruning it like normal and see what happens with it. I have a Liberty apple right there. It's supposed to be another good one. Then Grenadine and Pink Princess that I grafted last year. I'm hoping to get a few fruit off of those maybe. Then this is Gravenstein right here. This is a Kazakhstan apple right here. Dikaya from Guayan. Looks like I might get a few fruit off of it. I know last year it had a lot of bark damage and it got really bad leaf problems with this one. So I might cut it out, or I might save it and try to crossbreed it with something else. Then up there I'm doing an experimental graft where I put serviceberry and medlar on the apple tree. So I'll see if those come out. And that would be pretty neat for an experiment. They say serviceberry tends to take on apple, so that would be pretty neat. It's a Regent serviceberry, and they kind of taste like blueberries with a bit of apricot and almond flavor to them. This right here is Pink Pearl apple. And I got a few fruit off that last year, but bug got them, so looks like I might have 2 or 3 spurs gonna produce on this. What I need to do is I need to come back up here and cut this right here, get rid of that, bring it closer to the main branch structure. And up there, I think that's Ashman's kernel, the tall one going way up there. Thought about just cutting it out, I don't know. It goes pretty high up there, but I have limited room, so I kind of like having a tall tree. They're just a pain to reach. And this branch right here, I thought about cutting it back and grafting something onto it. So I have some chestnut crab apples and stuff like that. Let's see what else I can show you. Need to seed some more grass back here. This right here is my bog garden. I had a few things die back. I'm hoping they come back, but they're pitcher plants. I had one here, but it kind of rotted, so I divided it up to try to save pieces. There's another one right there. This one back here is doing really good, so hopefully that bulks up a lot before winter comes again. Hopefully it will go to seed. And right here, this one's doing really good.